Let's talk about AI art. It has absolutely exploded onto the scene, right? But this isn't just some new tech toy. No, it has kicked off a massive controversy, one that pits artists against algorithms and makes us ask some really deep questions about what creativity even is. So, take a look at this. This piece is called Theater d'Opera Spatial. It's gorgeous, right? Super evocative. And back in 2022, it actually won first place at the Colorado State Fair's art competition. You think, wow, what an achievement. But this exact image is ground zero for a huge debate. Because here is the big twist. The creator, Jason Allen, he didn't pick up a paintbrush. He didn't sketch a thing. He made this by typing a few lines of text into an AI called Midjourney. And that single fact, well, it changed everything. And when the art community absolutely lost their minds over this, Allen's response? He was totally unapologetic. He just said, I'm not going to apologize. I won, and I didn't break any rules. His attitude, you could say, just poured gasoline on an already raging fire. So what's the big deal? Why did this one picture cause such a massive fight? Well, it's because this was never really about just a pretty image. This is a battle over the very definition of art, the value of human skill, and honestly, maybe even our own identity. To really get why people are so upset, we've got to pop the hood and see how these things actually work. Let's break down how these AI models get built and why so many artists feel like their work is literally being devoured by a machine. Okay, so it basically boils down to a four-step process. First, companies scrape billions, and I mean billions of images from all over the internet. Then they feed all those images into the AI. And here's the thing. The model isn't learning art like a student. It's just spotting statistical patterns, like which pixels tend to sit next to which other pixels. Then, finally, it uses all those patterns to create brand new images based on what you type. And this is where it gets really controversial. Those billions of images it trained on, almost all of them were taken without the permission, without the knowledge, and certainly without any payment to the original artists. Their life's work, their unique style, just hoovered up to build a commercial product. Artist Molly Crabapple just absolutely nailed it with this metaphor. She said it feels vampirical. The AI feasts on the art of the past, while at the same time, it sucks the life out of the careers of artists working today. It's a really powerful way to describe why this feels so parasitic to so many creators. And you know, this whole mess has ended up in court. Getty Images is suing one of the big AI companies for massive copyright infringement. The US Copyright Office has weighed in too, basically saying if a human didn't create it, you can't copyright it. And you're seeing huge companies, from video game studios to scientific journals, just banning AI art altogether because it's a legal minefield. But this fight goes way deeper than just legal battles and corporate memos. There's a powerful psychological reason this technology feels so threatening. It feels like it's taking a swing at the very core of what we think makes us special. A fascinating study from the University of British Columbia actually put a name to this feeling. It's a bit of a mouthful: anthropocentric creativity beliefs. But all it really means is the idea that creativity is our thing, you know? It's the one skill that separates us humans from every other animal and, until now, every machine. The study uncovered something wild. They showed people different pieces of art and just told them this one was made by a human or this one was made by an AI. And people overwhelmingly preferred the art they thought was made by a human. But here's the kicker. The labels were totally random. It didn't matter who actually made it. It only mattered if people believed a human was behind it. So, what does that tell us? The researchers basically concluded that this backlash isn't just about whether the art is good. It feels like an existential threat. It's a machine storming what some have called the last fortress of human supremacy, our own creativity. And this feeling has a name. You've probably heard of it: the uncanny valley. We usually talk about it with creepy, almost human-looking robots, right? But AI art does the same thing. It looks so close to something a person would create. It mimics that emotion and intention. But there's just something off, something a little soulless that gives you a feeling of unease. Okay, so let's set aside the philosophy for a second and talk about something really concrete: money and jobs. Because for working artists, this isn't a thought experiment. It's an economic reality. Look at this number: $1.6 billion. That's what OpenAI alone made last year. This isn't some niche experiment run by artists. This is big business with a massive financial incentive to make creative work as fast and as cheap as possible. And this really shows you the two completely different worlds that are clashing. On one side, you've got the corporate push for speed, volume, and efficiency. They want to automate the creation of content. And on the other side, you've got artists whose entire careers are built on skill, craftsmanship, and human expression. These two goals are just fundamentally at odds. And this threat isn't abstract at all. This is a quote from a fantasy artist named Greg Rutkowski. His name became one of the most popular prompts people use to generate AI images. They were literally telling the machine to copy his unique style, a style he spent years developing. Now, he says his entire future feels like a huge question mark. So where do we go from here? Is this it for human artists? Or is there another path forward? It really feels like we're standing at a fork in the road, and the future is being decided right now. Down one path, you've got a future some people are calling oceans of slop. It's where AI completely replaces artists, and the internet just gets flooded with cheap automated content. But there is another possible future, one where AI is used ethically as a new tool to help humans be even more creative, where artists are actually paid for their data and stay in control. And you should know, artists are not just sitting back and watching this happen. They are fighting back hard. We're seeing huge class action lawsuits. There are tools being built like Glaze that can poison an artwork so AIs can't copy it. There are even companies like Adobe trying to build their own ethical AIs, trained only on licensed images. This fight is far from over. Which brings us to the final critical question that we all have to face. The technology is here to stay, but the rules for how we use it, they're still being written. So the choice is really this. Are we going to be the masters of these incredible new tools? Or is our creativity, that deeply human spark, going to become just another data point to be mined by the machine?